welcome back to another video for Ready or Not. And this one is going to continue down the lines of using the newer firearms and showcasing them. That comes from the Los Sueños stories. And I believe that is, let's see, what was the newest one on here? Or Stories of Los Sueños, one of them. Yeah, Los Sueños stories right here. So I haven't even completely went through the whole entire DLC when it comes to missions yet. But I am showcasing all the firearms. Last one I went through was the M90 or the 590M shotgun with a detachable magazine. I recommend checking that out to see all the really cool pros that you get out of the shotgun and some of the trade-offs. And for this one, I am going to continue down for the sidearm. And I think the next one I want to go ahead and do the launchers, which is really cool, the whole new category. But this is going to be the MK-5 sidearm, and honestly, it is my favorite one so far. I'm not really seeing a reason to be carrying other ones with this kind of pros, aside from probably the 357 Magnum, or something like the USP 45 or the 5.7. Something that has a little bit more like punch when it comes to the firepower, but the Mark 5 is pretty cool. And what this is a handgun chambered in 50 AE, which is the same ammunition that you would use for like the Desert Eagle. It hits like a goddamn truck. Essentially, it's a hand cannon. So there is obviously some major drawbacks that you can probably already be thinking of with this handgun, but it has some pretty awesome upsides because of its kind of ammunition. For attachments, it only has two of them that you can carry. Is a laser sight, which is on the trigger guard itself, and you can also have its custom laser, which is that massive laser that is mounted on the top of the gun entirely there. And that kind of reminds me of a handgun that was used in a Terminator movie. I think it's just called the Hardballer is its nickname for the handgun itself. And it wasn't really too bad. I think that these custom lasers were kind of like made in the 80s before we actually moved on to making more compact versions. But so it's like a weird prototype that was there. So it's a really cool history piece that they threw onto there, which is pretty cool. But I want to go ahead and just keep the normal laser sight on there just to showcase the gun more and not have it be obstructed. Honestly, it is a pretty cool secondary because of its ammunition type itself. It has major armor penetration because of it shooting 50 AE. I think this is the only gun that can compare to the 7.62 rounds coming out of the normal some of the battle rifles, I guess, that were added in for the Dark Waters DLC. And this is 50 AE. It's not the 50 cal 50 caliber round that you probably see from like a Barrett sniper rifle, but it is having the same like diameter essentially that you're going to be getting out of it, or having the same type of stopping power. So this thing obviously will have one major drawback because of this large round. Is a large amount of recoil. So I was trying to showcase this and doing a actual live round or a live mission while showcasing the handgun, and long ranges inside just a normal gas station was a very hard gunfight for me to be holding. So this is not really used for long range engagements, but if you can somehow handle that, you'll be just fine. One thing to mention with this handgun at all times, every time you pull it out, you will have that initial slide rack. So every time you start a mission, make sure you swap to your secondary and then swap back after the animation, so you do not need to worry about trying to pull this thing out mid-firefight to save your life and your guy does that weird animation, because I don't think that really matters when you're actually in a gunfight or not, if the guy does it or not. So that is one kind of drawback I think the devs slightly didn't really look over. But normally, like I showed in the last video, to do a little bit of comparison, you can hold square or your reload button, and you get to see all the magazines at the bottom there. This thing is actually really cool. It comes to like armor penetration. It will drop anything that's through heavy armor, and you don't really need to worry about that element at all when it comes to your enemies there. Now, it does a large amount of traumatic force or physical trauma to enemies. So shooting them in the arms or leg is almost a guaranteed bleed out every time you're going to be using this. If you are going to shoot someone with this handgun, no matter where you're going to land, it is going to eventually kill them, which is some wild work for this actual handgun. Shooting through walls, no problem at all, as long as you're hitting about the upper chest area or the more vital areas. You will get yourself a one-shot kill through the wall, or sometimes two-shot if they have armor on. So obviously surfaces will kind of draw back that armor penetration style. And it also very compact for its profile, so even in this very small area, I can hold the handgun out in front of me, even though it is kind of drawn back a little. This is a little bit close when it comes to my actual handgun for low ready right there. I don't know why it's a low rating right now. That's kind of weird. I think I bugged it out. Oh no, that's because I'm out of the station. That's right. Yeah. So as you can see, yeah, so you can hold it up. It has a really small profile, obviously, for it being a handgun. So you get all that stopping power in such a small package. Again, that's some really high recoil. That is me pulling down with every fire. Recoil acts really weird in this game. You can shoot it for like a long while, like for about 1 or 2 seconds, and it'll keep rising up into a certain point, and then just kind of stops in one area. This one's kind of weird after like the second shot, then it kind of gives out on trying to push recoil, and you just kind of drag too far down. So it's a little strange for how it works. But yeah, so that's one of the trade-offs you get for it. And obviously a one-shot headshot through any kind of surface. Now you can drag it back a little bit, and you can put down armor penetration will obviously shoot through all the material, and you're able to drop guys with less worry about having to follow up with another shot. But you can also do hollow point rounds, which is a trade-off of normally with every other handgun or every other firearm in the game, aside from the 7.62 ones in this, is that you would trade off AP rounds for hollow point rounds. And what that will do is the hollow point rounds will do more damage to the soft part of enemies, so anyone that is not armored, and you will take less shots in order to drop them. Oh, that's what I did. I was about to say, I'm like, what in the world? Yeah, so you'll take less shots to an enemy that has soft spots on them. So even if you shoot them directly with, you know, the goddamn hand cannon like this, you can just go ahead and double down on that damage itself and just swap to hollow points, ammo type, and go to hollow point at the bottom, or JHP. And you light people up through there. So normally, as far as I know, it takes about 1 extra round in order to drop your target through surfaces if you are using a hollow point round. So that's just the one drawback for how these weapons work, and kind of like the pretty consistent results that you'll be getting across the board with that. So it's not too bad at all. Or you can swap to AP and do that. Now both of them have the exact same recoil pattern. All they do is just change that one aspect of how much damage they push through a certain material. Yeah, so that's pretty much the really cool laser that you can turn on right there. You can obviously use it in phosphorus lighting, if you can kind of see that a little bit. It's better in night vision. It doesn't have an IR laser, unfortunately, but it does have the custom laser. I'll be using that, showcasing what that thing looks like. Yeah, it looks goofy right there. It's kind of weird, which is kind of odd when I first look at this, and I also watched a video on it not too long ago. Supposedly, this thing should not work as it is right there. It kind of needs a power source that's external, and it just simply lacks one. So I'm not entirely sure how this thing is working. It's more like magic that's going on, but I don't really care all that much. Yeah, so you can use that if you really want to. You can obviously use the iron sight still. You can use that just fine. It's just going to block out your vertical space there, which looks very weird, so I kind of canted over the entire time. But yeah, so this is just a very straightforward handgun. The most amazing part about it is its actual caliber, and that's really about it. Again, it has high recoil and a very slow fire rate compared to other spammable handguns that have lighter ammunition. Now, honestly, despite me saying this, and it does hit like a truck, I don't really see a reason that you don't really need to have it as the number one like meta weapon, which is wild. You still have the USP-45, which shoots out 45 ACP. You also have, I think, the M45A1, which does the same thing. You have the 5.7, which shoots out its own 5.7 round, which is the P90 uses, and it does break through armor a little better than the 9mm. And obviously the 357 Magnum, which equals about the same firepower, stopping power as a Mark 5. So if you want the stopping power, you can go through the actual Magnum. Or if you still want the stopping power that might not be on the same level, but it can punch through armor just fine and be forgiving, you can use it in the handgun. So yeah, there's no way this gun trumps every other stat from all the other secondaries. So there's reasons to swap off of it and use others. But it is good to pull out to have the second best, or second from lowest anyway, when it comes to forgiveness, to where it kind of outshines the Magnum when it comes to fire rate and its capacity. I think it only goes by like one extra round, so technically it has an edge over the Magnum in that sense, but that's about it. And you can use that and drop guys usually in one shot, which is not too bad at all. So that's what I use for its actual secondary purpose, and that's, in my head, that's how it sits with everything else. But all the other handguns are comfy to use just as is. If you run out of ammo mid-match, you can swap to any of the other faster firing ones and be far more comfortable with taking on more than 1 to 2 firefights. Again, that's exactly what all the other handguns are kind of used for their own role. So that is the trade-offs and the pros that you get for the Mark 5 1911 handgun, also nicknamed the Hardballer. And honestly, it's a fine addition. I like it. I like how the devs are actually making it to where there is some major trade-offs for these guns, but it'll also make it to where it feels very unique, and it'll bring a different playstyle to your actual loadout. But yeah, so that's everything to be covering for the Mark 5. And I'll be going over the launchers in the next video. You guys go ahead and let me know what you guys think about this handgun down in the comments. You can also look at my previous episode, and that will be covering the 590M shotgun, or the magazine-fed shotgun. If you haven't already seen that, and you can go ahead and drop a like or a comment down to there if you want to. I just really do either. Yeah, so I'll have that one up, and I'll go ahead and go through the launchers, and I'll go through the other secondary, and I believe that should be about all the other DLC weapons that are in the latest one. If you guys want me to go over other DLC weapons for past DLCs, like the Home Invasion DLC and the Dark Waters DLC, go ahead and let me know, because they do have some interesting firearms in them as well. So again, let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.